Hello? Hi. Can anyone volunteer to help with the video? We seem to have lost our video guy for the moment. We're trying to do a live stream. If someone can help operate that? Yeah, any hands? Any hands? Any enthusiasts? Okay, Adam's an enthusiast. Okay, can you figure this out? Okay, yeah, as long as you can film it. The webcast is secondary importance. Okay, let me know when are you recording? Okay. Oh, sorry.
How do you know?
How do you know? Okay, you sure it's recording, right? Okay, thanks. Okay, sorry. Sorry, everyone. The Editathon Cultural Engagements panel.
Hi there, I'm Bob Kozowski, user CoSpoot, and welcome to the Editathon and panel here. As many of you probably know, Editathons are one of the most useful ways to get new people involved in editing Wikipedia. And even though there's discussion about how to tweak it, how to retool it, it still has become, I mean, they're relatively new, only in the past 5 years, it still is the main tool by which we can get new editors into Wikipedia, or if they don't remain new editors, at least they're introduced into the dynamics of Wikipedia and what it is about. So we have 3 people on a panel who have recently sponsored or led Editathons and who are here to tell about their experiences. We're going to go in order of last names. So first is Alice Becker, founder of AfroCROWD, which is an initiative to get people of African descent involved with the Wikimedia and Wikipedia. Next up will be Maira Liriano, Associate Chief Librarian of the Reference Division of Schomburg Center for Research in Black Culture of the New York Public Library. And lastly will be Jacqueline Mabey, the Independent Curator and General Art Worker.
Hi, everyone. Just being here this morning, I couldn't help but thinking that it's a long ways from the days when, as a Barnard College student, I did not learn how to write an email, and only because it was an assignment, a requirement of a class until my senior year, to today, when Wikipedia, something like Wikipedia can be in the classroom and can make things more alive and dynamic. For sure, had I gone to college at a time when Wikipedia existed, I would not have made the mistake to go to law school. Which is why I'm here today, actually following what is a true passion. I've been involved with the free culture movement since 2005. I started out monitoring blogs from French-speaking countries in Africa and the Caribbean for Global Voices Online, and that opened me up through going to conferences with bloggers and people involved in free culture in India and in Croatia to the free culture movement. However, I am more, Wikipedia is newer to me, but it is people from that movement who asked me to get involved because I have been disseminating and curating and aggregating Haitian online expression for the last 10 years. So what is AfroCROWD? I believe, I don't think I have too long, but we just kicked off. We know that, I think anybody here, anecdotally, who is of African descent, has heard a professor or the other, or, academics or people who they know say that they found certain Wikipedia articles to be inaccurate or in some way biased when it comes to topics that they care about or that they consider that they are close to. And that's pretty, that's a very usual response that I get when I speak to people of African descent about Wikipedia. But what people don't necessarily know is that they can go in and change it themselves, and maybe kind of engage the initial author, but actually do something about it. But of course, given what we've heard today from the professors about how making that first edit is very intimidating, and I've already come across it in in Editathons, you know, there has to be a process. There has to be a process of getting people acclimated to the platform. So AfroCROWD, we kicked off at the Brooklyn Public Library on February 7th and 8th, which was kind of our intro to Wikipedia and how to edit it. We attracted about 50 people on both of those days, and we started out with the first day was a talk, which was kind of more general, and then the second day we got into editing. Now, our approach is that Black is global. There are Black people all over the world. The majority of Black people not only are not in the United States, but they're not English speakers. And those communities are represented in the United States, including my community, the Haitian community. So we have decided to zero in into the subgroups. And so we had a more general AfroCROWD the first time. And then last week we had Haiti Crowd, where, you know, after doing outreach to community groups, especially community groups interested in culture, we got together and talked about the languages of relevance to this population, which is French, Haitian Creole, and English. We went through those. We also talked about archival materials in those languages available online. And we had an editathon. We came up with these articles over here. We were able to create 4 of these articles. These are all authors, musicians, and people in medicine were created, and then we improved articles about that were already on Wikipedia. People added pictures, etc. So coming forward, moving forward, we are holding Afro-Latino Crowd pretty soon on April 12th, and we're going to do the same thing, but we're going to talk about the languages that are important to this community, people of African descent, who are also Spanish speakers in the United States. We're going to look at Spanish. The 2 community groups we're working with are inviting people from these people of African descent from Latin America and Central America to participate via live stream. We're also going to be joined by a Cuban blogger called Negra Cubana, again, via live stream. And we're going to do what we did at Haiti Crowd, which is go through Wikipedia resources in Spanish, in Portuguese, as well as Wikipedia resources, obviously, in English. But what we're also going to do is, you know, edit a little bit. So that's the plan there. And then moving forward, we're going to keep doing this, keep rotating through the different subgroups. We're going to hold a bigger editathon in June, and we're also going to be at Black, Brown, and Digital, who are in the room today. They're a group of media students, Black media students from the New School. We're going to be with them at their conference. They're online content creators. And we're also going to be at the Afrofuturism conference. So we're going to try to zero in. I'm sorry? Yeah. So, I mean, this is just to give you an idea. We're really trying to target subgroups, not just kind of put Black as this big category, but kind of, you know, really zero into so that people understand that there are 285 languages on Wikipedia, that great things can be done with it. And that, again, for people who care about their communities, where they come from, that they can actually bring knowledge to these communities, which is what I've been telling Haitians, because the Wikimedia Foundation has signed an agreement with Digicel, the biggest cell phone provider, to make access to Wikipedia free in whatever language they want. And so we're also going to hopefully do our best to try to grow the Haitian Creole Wikipedia, because here it is, a free resource that children in Haiti can use to learn. So people can ask me questions about how the editathons have been going. I'm going to let my co-panelists bring you their projects.
Hello, everyone. My name is Maira Liriano. I'm a librarian at the Schomburg Center for Research in Black Culture, which is a research collection research library that's a part of the New York Public Library. It's up in Harlem. It's on 135th Street and Malcolm X Boulevard. And we're embarking on our 90th anniversary. The Schomburg Library was founded in 1925 by a man named Arturo Schomburg, who came from Puerto Rico and immigrated to New York in the 1890s and became a major collector of materials, books related to Black history and Black culture, and connected to many people, very prominent people during the Harlem Renaissance. And at that point, that's when his collection was purchased by the library and became part of the 135th Street branch. And then from there, it grew and grew and grew to what is today considered really the premier collection for research in Black history and Black culture worldwide. It's not just African American history, it is the Africa and African diasporic studies. So a little bit about the Schomburg. I actually was involved in a Wikipedia editathon back in 2012, and that's when my previous job was working at the U.S. History, Local History, and Genealogy Division of the New York Public Library, which is a research collection down at the 42nd Street Library. And so at that point, it was kind of, I think editathons were still relatively new, and we decided to do an editathon related to trying to get more content about New York City neighborhoods. Our particular editathon was called Wiki Gangs of New York, which I've always loved the title. So I think having a cool title for your editathon is really important. I think it definitely can be eye-catching. But that was my first exposure to it. So when I came to Schomburg a year and a half ago, I already had some connections to folks in the Wikipedia world. And I was contacted by them and saying, we really would love to do an editathon at the Schomburg Center related to Black history and culture. And I said, that'd be great. I really enjoyed the last go around, and I feel like we learned some stuff and we could do it even better. And it took a little while, but also as Alice, on the same day that she had her editathon, we had our editathon on February 7th at the Schomburg Center. And there's a short video, which I believe I can show you guys, which will give you a sense of what that day was about. So I'm going to show you that in that way. Let's see.
That's me.
I know. And we have some of our participants who are actually here today, so. We are hosting this editathon to teach people about Wikipedia and how to contribute to Wikipedia. It's created by the masses. Anybody can contribute or edit a Wikipedia entry, but it takes a little training. So today we're hoping to train people to contribute.
We all have a responsibility to sort of take control of this space of Wikipedia and not just let it be ruled by the handful of people in the world who have this,
There is the bias that there is a lack of people of color involved in creating for Wikipedia, as well as the subjects are also missing from Wikipedia. And so events like today is in part to make people aware of that and to then empower them and give them the information they need to correct that bias.
I realize now why so few people actually do the editing and posting of articles. It's not simple, it's not easy. I think I definitely would need 2 or 3 more sessions like this to really feel comfortable and confident in doing it. This is not top secret information. It's something anyone who has some moderate degree of proficiency in the internet, you don't have to be seriously tech savvy in order to learn how to do this. And there's a lot of information about African American history and other topics that aren't covered well enough. So this is a great way for everybody. That's the beauty of Wikipedia, that everybody, you don't have to be an expert, can add.
We selected a costume designer because both of my daughters are very interested in theater and costume design. Her name is Judy, excuse me, Judy Deering. She did costumes for Off-Broadway and for Alvin Ailey Dance productions. So we were very interested in just kind of making sure that her life and the work that she did is available for anybody who's doing research in that area.
Maira Lyons. She is originally from Brooklyn. She was born, I don't remember the exact date, but around 1840, around thereabouts. And when she was a teenager, it was the Civil War, and there was the draft riots, and the environment in New York City was not favorable to African Americans, and so her parents decided to send her and her siblings to Providence, Rhode Island, to get away from the violence that was happening in New York City at the time. So when she got there, she was a teenager, and she was preparing to go to high school, but they wouldn't let her go because she was black. So she ended up fighting that and testified before the Rhode Island legislature. And they, after her testimony, she won, and she was allowed, she was admitted into the Providence, Rhode Island high school, and she became the first African American to graduate from that school. And yet she's really unknown. But not completely, because she does actually have a children's book that's been written about her, which is a beautiful children's book. And so that is out there for young people to learn more about her. But it'd be great for us adults to have something a little more maybe biographical, or in terms of just having some facts and references. And that's what Wikipedia is really good in doing. I think a really good sense of what our particular editathon, what it was about, and kind of what we accomplished. The one thing that was really helpful in our editathon is that we ended up getting a lot of press coverage, and that particular video was actually created by an NPR affiliate based in New England. They cover like upstate New York and New England, so. But she had heard about it through some of the coverage that we had gotten, so we were really fortunate. And I think part of it was, it was Black History Month. It was the beginning of Black History Month, and people are always looking for stories. Of course, technology, mixed in, made it, I think, really attractive. And also just the Black Lives Matter movement, and we happened to name ours, Black Lives Matters, I think also kind of caught the attention of people, and it really made a huge difference. We got a great turnout, and more than anything, I think it just started bringing awareness to people of the issue that there is this racial bias, and how do we correct that? And so it started getting the word out there. So you can go to our page, and we actually also have a blog about all the different events that happen in Black History Month. And it was exciting to see different things happening throughout the month, concluding with a Wikipedia editathon that happened at the White House related to Black history. So that was kind of a nice way to end the month, and hopefully this is just the beginning of doing more of these. And for me, the struggle is, how do we sustain this, and how do we keep the folks that came that day on February 7th, how do we keep them engaged, and how do we keep them learning? And I'm trying to think that through. Editathons are great as a great way to introduce a lot of different people to the process and to do some training, but it's something that it's not a one-shot deal. You have to kind of keep, there's a lot that you need to take in, and you need practice, and you need people to advise you. And you kind of need to keep the momentum going. So I'm still kind of struggling with how to do that, because at our editathon, we had a lot of support of Wikipedians, and it was great that they came out on this very snowy day where subway was having issues. But I can't expect to have them come to every event that I would like to do. So I'm just kind of, if any people have ideas about how to do it. I mean, one thing that I'm thinking about, and I know other people have done this, is to kind of do more of more informal kind of meetup, or like have almost like a Wikipedia edit club where you come once a month, and you kind of offer the space, and where people can just come on a regular basis to learn. So on our page, just real quick, we did manage to create a lot of new pages, which is really exciting, including a page for the woman that I talked about, Maira Lyons, who did not, before this editathon, she did not have a Wikipedia page. And now she has a very nice page with photographs. And she wrote a, not a journal, but it's a memoir. She wrote a memoir that's never been published that's at the Schomburg Center. And hopefully someday that will be added. But there's just a lot of great stuff that was created. And the last thing I'll say is one thing that I've noticed that's also been incredibly helpful was in preparation for the editathon, we had a list of subjects that were not present or subjects that needed enhancement. And that kind of took a life of its own because then it was used by other groups who were doing editathons. And so I think having a list of what's missing is really, really valuable because it gives people a kind of a starting point. It also makes people aware of like what is actually not there. So I found that to be incredibly valuable. So, thank you.
Here we go. Hi, everyone. My name is Jacqueline Mabey, and I am delighted to be here. And the reason I'm here is because I'm one of the founding organizers of Art and Feminism, which is a campaign to improve coverage of women in the arts on Wikipedia and increase female editorship. So the first global Art and Feminism Wikipedia Editathon took place on February 1st, 2014, when approximately 600 participants convened in 31 locations in 6 countries to edit Wikipedia articles on women in the arts. And during this day, at least 101 new articles were created and at least 90 articles were improved. So this first event was the result of a series of conversations between myself, Sean Evans, who is an art librarian, Michael Mandelberg, who is an artist and a professor at CUNY, and the curator, Laurel Patak. And then we were later joined by Dorothy Howard and Richard Nightball. So this year, for the second annual event, we had over 1,500 participants at the Museum of Modern Art in New York and at more than 75 events around the world. So it resulted in the creation of nearly 400 new pages and significant improvements to 500 articles on Wikipedia. So in addition to the hub at MoMA, we had events across the US and in 17 countries around the globe at venues including the Stedelijk in Amsterdam, Sontag's Club in Berlin, the Los Angeles County Museum of Art, the Walker Art Center in Minneapolis, the Dowse Art Museum in New Zealand, Fondation Galerie Lafayette in Paris, and the Art Gallery of Ontario in Toronto. We think that one of the keys to our success has been an approach of organizing primarily off-wiki, but online, through personal and professional networks and social media, which kind of, I think, only makes sense. If you're trying to bring in new editors, you have to go to where they are. But as organizers, we have no desire to rest on our laurels, but seek to continually improve. So we continually solicit, feedback from the people we're working with all over the world, and as well, we are going to submit our materials for a diversity review. We understand that it's impossible to be all things to all people, but we want to be as accessible to as many as is feasible. The best jumping off point for groups to remix the processes and materials that we've built up to suit the needs of their community. But I kind of want the participants to speak for themselves. So we have this lovely video that the Wikimedia Foundation made.
Welcome to the second annual Art and Feminism Wikipedia Editathon at the Museum of Modern Art. In 2010, there was a study that found that around 8.5% of Wikipedia editors were women. Other studies have shown that it's somewhere between 8 and 16%, so the numbers are quite low as far as female editors go. There's a lack of history in feminist art, in women artists, and in topics about gender and gender expression on Wikipedia. And we'd like to change that, so that's what we're working on today.
So I'm just wondering what the threshold for,
Yeah, I mean, blogs are difficult.
I'm here to help correct some of the gender imbalances among not only the articles that are presented in Wikipedia, but among the editors that are included in the effort. I am a professional writer and editor. I'm also a feminist, and I love art. So as soon as I heard about this, I knew it was something that I wanted to participate on, not only as an expert, but as a passionate supporter of the campaign.
I have been talking about hip-hop tourism here in New York City and how it evolved and where it started, and who are part of the legends and the historical icons in a place that's so relevant to the movement of hip-hop. I think the social platform, the internet, there's so many things that are out there that I really don't know about, and I wanted to be able to learn how to use it the best way, the best practices, and maybe cut some hours of just trying to figure things out on my own. When you come to events like this, they tell you the shortcuts and they kind of explain it to you the right way.
From a long time I wanted to edit Wikipedia articles for my artist friends. I'm a Romanian artist. And it's a women Romanian artist, and it's an area which is totally, unrepresented on the Wikipedia. So I always wanted to learn, and I promised myself that I'll do, and I kept an eye on it. So that's a great opportunity to really learn. I won't leave here till 5 o'clock.
It just never really seemed accessible to edit Wikipedia pages, and I also just didn't have the technical know-how to do it, so it was really good to get a little bit of education on how to do that. But then also just having the opportunity to kind of follow leads down rabbit holes around women artists from lots of different periods in the interest of providing good references and maybe beefing up the Wikipedia text about them has just been really fun.
I just started learning how to write my first Wikipedia article. I've only done edits so far, so I'm just taking that very frightening first step of actually creating an article from scratch.
And how has it gone so far?
I mean, so far my computer hasn't burst into flames or anything, so that's good.
I like that I'm helping to educate basically everybody in the world at the same time, and I'm happy because it lets me develop the different languages I know.
What really got me interested in this topic and this project is hearing a few years ago that a Wikipedia editor had tried to create a page for women authors, women writers, as distinct from writers, and he thought he was helping women by making them more visible, but he was ghettoizing them. He didn't get that women who are writers. They're not women writers. And men who are writers are rarely called men writers. They're just writers. So that's why I'm here.
Or something like that.
I'm writing just one entry about this Mexican artist, so I chose to do one in English and in Spanish because I'm Mexican. So it's also important to have information in both languages. Sometimes in Latin American countries or in other countries that don't speak English, you don't get all the information, right? You only have access to the English ones, and if you don't speak English, then you don't have that information even about your artist.
We have events happening all over the world. At last count, I think we were at 75, but as always happens, we learn about more after the fact. But that includes in Paris, in Amsterdam, in Moscow, which we're really excited by.
These events are very important. It's just as important as when you were a child and you went to the library, that feeling that you got when you borrowed a book and you were able to read the book and take it home and you were excited and you couldn't wait to return it and borrow another book. These kind of events actually open a platform for you to open up your mind and say that, we all have to work together and teach each other.
Sometimes we think that someone else is going to do it, but if we wait until that person does it, it's going to be very slow. So we have to sometimes take things in our own hands and just do it.
I think we have a chance with Wikipedia to sort of make the ideal encyclopedia.
Okay, so I'm going to take Moderator's prerogative, and I want to ask the panel something first. This brings up a whole bunch of issues which connects to the education panel this morning. But what I find particularly challenging is reaching the people. I mean, it's great that each one of these editathons receives a lot of news press and coverage. But how do you go about reaching those people who may not be the first up to jump at the idea of a Wikipedia editathon? Especially you, Alice, that your plan, no, I'm not, I want everyone to answer, but your plan to focus on different language groups within the umbrella of Black community. You know, how are you reaching, what are the ways to reach such people?
Well, what you do is you go to the people who are already working in media and focusing on their group because they're the ones who care. And since I've been involved with citizen media relating to Haiti and in the process of made connections with others similarly situated to me in the African community, in the Afro-Latino community, in the Black American community, I already knew who these people were. So I just went to them and said, you guys are doing great work online. And you guys are all great citizen media, which is what everybody else calls social media. But how about Wikipedia? We're all working on Facebook, we're all working on Twitter, we're all working on all those platforms. Wikipedia is yet another place where you guys should be. And that's how I did it. I just went to people who were already very involved in representing their communities in citizen media. Since I work with Haitian bloggers, it really wasn't hard. But then we did the same thing for the other communities.
I'm lucky to be a part of a larger institution like the Schomburg Center and the New York Public Library. So in terms of reaching out to our community, we already have kind of a built-in community that keeps track of events that are happening at the Schomburg Center. So through our, just advertising this as an event, as well as social media through the Schomburg's Facebook and Twitter, we were able to get the word out very easily. So we're lucky to actually have that affiliation. I mean, to be a part of an institution that then can connect to its users.
Yeah, I mean, I think that, as I said earlier, one of the keys to our success has been reaching out through our professional networks. So, for instance, Sean is a librarian, putting the call out on the R-List listserv, the VRA listserv. Michael reaching out to his network of fellow professors of art and art history. I know a lot of people working in art institutions across North America, really. And then using social media as well to get the word out was, I really think, for example, last year, the editathon that happened in Portland actually developed on a Facebook feed, one person tagging another person saying, we should do this. And then the other person responding back, and they're like, okay, I booked a room. So we sort of watched it happen, watched them come together in real time that way.
So, questions?
Like the Olympic torch. So I noticed that lady in the video was mentioning the question about female writers versus male writers. That happened that's institutionalized on Wikipedia. You think that's a good thing? And I kind of agree with her that kind of division. I mean, people write for everybody. They don't write for men and women. There might be some segment within writers, communities that do write exclusively for one group, but most writers want to be perceived by the universal group possible. So I'm just wondering, when that lady spoke, she said somebody was suggesting it. I'm sure that it's happened because I've seen that. And it's not only writers, it's novelists, poets. I don't think it happens with artists, but with writers it does.
Okay. I think that I think the real uproar about that and the real issue is the presumption behind it that male, that white, that heterosexual is neutral and unbiased, and then everything else is an aberration and an addition onto it. I mean, I think that was the issue kind of subcategorization and what people got upset about, as the woman explained in the video.
Don't mind it so much when it comes to the groups that we're going to be working with, because it increases their visibility, and because thanks to those categories, there can be things like a whole page of Haitians on Wikipedia, a whole page of Afro-Latinos on Wikipedia, and so I'm assuming that the categories are what allows for the creation of those lists, but maybe somebody who's actually created those pages with lists of the categories can clarify that. So personally, I don't mind it.
To be honest, I'm not really sure how I feel about it. I mean, I can see it both ways. I can see that in some ways it can be of value to have a list by group, but I can also see how that could be a little bit sort of condescending, or I don't, you know, it is, you know, I really feel like I can't really speak to that, because it's not something that I've figured out for myself. But, you know, being in an institution that collects Black culture and Black history, I mean, I'm very much aware of that as I do my work as a librarian in terms of, you know, what materials I collect. And so we do, in our catalog, we do identify Black authors, for instance, as a way to make note that this person who is who's written this particular book or contributed something that's in our collection is a Black person, and I think there's a value to that. So I guess I lean towards maybe not really having a problem with it, but I can't really, I'm not really prepared to say for sure that it's one of those kind of evolving issues.
Oh. Okay, just to clarify what was going on with that women writers category, I remember when that happened, and it wasn't properly reported because it does involve an arcane knowledge of how our categorization system works. The guy who started that category meant for it to be what we call a distinguished subcategory, meaning that, say, Cynthia Ozick would be categorized as American writer and also American woman writer, and then I guess Jewish American writer, and so forth, just to use her as an example. It wasn't going to be that there were American writers and then all the women had their own category. It was going to be a separate category if you wanted to go down and look for other, say, American women writers, Jewish American women writers, and so forth.
I think one thing that confuses people in these categories is that when a category is subcategory, it actually includes the top category, but it is not always visible to most readers. Even for me, a lot of time, for a long of time, it was not really clear to me that subcategory is also part of top category or bigger category. When you read only the subcategory. So probably it's an issue that the foundation or the community can address.
Just to piggyback on that, personally, when I write articles, I try to find as many categories as the person is in personally, but I also make sure to put them in the broader categories. So if I were putting female author, I will also put author. I wouldn't just put female author. But then the categorization as female allows people looking for females. There are people who are looking for these things because they can't find them anywhere.
The thing about the subcategory is when you add the subcategory, it automatically adds the top category, and it is not recommended that you add the top category with the subcategory. That's not obvious, yeah.
I think Hamina has a question.
Yeah, can you hear me? Ah, cool. I was thinking that we don't really have American author, male American author, right? Because there already are, yeah. That's what the lady was talking about. Yeah. Male American author is not a subcategory of anything. But anyway, my question actually had to do with what you were saying about training and how do you follow up and what do you do about engagement beyond the editathon, right? And I've been to several editathons by now, and I was wondering how useful would you find perhaps to have at least the editing part in some kind of video form that, you know, if let's say a patron comes into your library and they want to do some Wikipedia work, but you don't have the time to explain everything to them, so you just can say, hey, look at this video here. As you're writing your encyclopedia entry, if you need help, I can come and help you, or, you know, we can find somebody to come and help you. But first, watch this 7-minute video on all the things you need to know. I don't know if I'm making any sense, because there's already a lot of videos on Wikipedia, but they're kind of like more for the general audience rather than specific, say, to the Schomburg, like the kinds of things that you guys can provide. I don't know if I'm making any sense.
I mean, I think you're right. I mean, I think if you tailor the video to the audience that you're going to be working with, I think that could be helpful, because it would probably feel a little bit more relevant for them. I also know that for a lot of, especially when you're starting off, I think you really want that personal instruction and that one-on-one, or just, you know, having having that sort of personal experience as opposed to watching a video where you can ask questions, and so it would help, but I'm not sure it would necessarily be a substitute.
Cool. I'm just saying this because when we were doing the editathon, specifically at the Schomburg, I pointed out to the people that I was helping that it was a boon to go into the Schomburg to continue doing Wikipedia editing, because you guys have the databases. Like if she went to Starbucks, you know, she wouldn't be able to get all those databases. But if she wanted to, you know, she would, right? And she was like, oh, I never thought of that. You know, so in a way, if you think about it, it's a great way to advertise the Schomburg, that you can come in and do Wikipedia work here because we have the resources that you need to be able to do so.
That's true.
Yeah.
I mean, that's really the great value of having it in the library, where you can have access to not just information that's online, because oftentimes that's the problem. The stuff isn't really
Very
online,
good. Yeah.
but through some of the other resources that we have there.
Okay.
Well, I don't see any other questions, but I have a question, but not for the panel, for everybody else here. So you've heard these ideas about editathons, experience there. What would you say to some of the open-ended questions, like how to follow up on an editathon? Editathon is a great way. I know I'm here attending because I'm not attending the GLAM Wiki Consortium thing in Washington. And they're struggling with these questions too. How to follow up an editathon, how to maintain interest. Does anybody have any ideas they want to toss out to the panel or to the wiki, you know, the chapter in general?
Well, frankly, I like the idea that was presented on the panel of having a specific day of the month or a specific day of the week, perhaps, where you would just come in and you would sit down and have this particular time for doing this work. And I think that's an excellent idea and a great way to maintain sort of sense of community, because on the one hand, you know, you have people, you know, living their lives, they have their own time pressures as well. On the other hand, you know, you have this cohesive set time and place where they can all come together and work on one particular topic, and they have a sense of community, and they have all these resources, and they have people that are dedicated to helping them do this at one particular time. So I think that's an excellent idea, and I'd say that that's pretty much the best could have for that. Yeah.
I just wanted to say that we've actually already held follow-ups. We're doing them monthly at the Brooklyn Public Library. It's as simple as writing an email saying, here's how the last one went, and please come to the next one. It's, I mean, you know, provided, of course, you can hold it. But we're having monthly events with AfroCROWD.
One of the problems that I discovered using New York City Public Library computers is you're only allowed on them for 45 minutes. If you were doing an editing project, could someone get more time? Not everybody either has a computer or their computer gets broke. You know what I mean? Okay, so I won't go on with that, but that's one of my questions. Also, if you don't want to work on that particular topic, but there are articles or whatever that are on the site that need editing, would somebody at an editathon be able to help that person do that? Because whenever I've read about editathons, they always seem so specific. I always wonder if I'm here today for a more general thing, because they're articles to which I want to add bibliography, et cetera, that would exist.
We joke that we don't care if you edit about plate spinning, just come and participate. Like, honestly, we won't ever tell anyone what to do. We have suggestions, but not,
This
do
is the
whatever you want.
general approach. The point of an editathon on a topic is to at least attract the core of people who are interested in this topic. And the best editathons are built around, as Alice was saying, a pre-existing group of people who are interested and who will come and hopefully who know each other. But at every one I can remember, there have always been people coming in just to work with other people on anything at all.
And for talking about follow-up and information capture, we got 2 grants from the Wikimedia Foundation this year. One was a project grant to support childcare and refreshments for all the international events and a series of training workshops leading up to them, and as well for another grant for building our infrastructure for this thing that we're calling Plus Feminism. So the idea is that we're essentially building a toolkit that other people can take on and remix and adapt to suit a thematic feminist editathon. So for instance, we've already gotten interest from like medicine and feminism, or music and feminism, literature and feminism. So we're just kind of working and creating this network of what we're calling like Plus Feminism ambassadors, is people who have volunteered, who have been interested and involved before, that can help other people organize. And as well, we've developed training materials, so you could send them to our site where they could see the YouTube video that we created for the basics to editing. But I would also encourage the Schomburg to take that and remix it. So instead of the example that we edit on it is the entry for Chris Kraus. So instead of that, I don't know, something referring to the fonts, like whatever you have at the Schomburg. So yeah, just sort of trying to not lose the informational and personnel infrastructure that we have developed over 2 years is really important to us right now.
Hi, this question is for Alice. Alice, I know that in Haiti we have a dual language challenge because we are taught in French, but most people don't actually communicate in Haitian Creole. And I don't know too many Haitian bloggers, like Haitian Creole bloggers. So I'm wondering, what are some of the challenges that you're having in terms of finding these Haitian Creole writers? And also, is there a list? Because I don't even know any, and it would be nice to know who they are if they do exist.
Well, www.haitianbloggers.com. But I mean, I've literally been aggregating every single Haitian blogger I've ever found, wherever they were writing from, whatever language they're writing from. And I can tell you there aren't that many writing in Creole. Where Haitian Creole is developing is on Facebook. It's through mobile, people are texting, writing in Creole on Facebook. I was shocked to find this out. If you go to a Haitian paper, if you go to Le Nouvelliste, you're gonna find that Haitians are writing comments on Le Nouvelliste in Creole. And also officially, school instruction should be in Creole. There's also Michel de Graaf at MIT who's doing a lot of work through the grant he got from the National Science Foundation for teaching in Creole. All his materials on the MIT website are in Creole. He writes academic articles in Creole. So obviously, and with the Haitian Creole Language Institute, there is kind of basically there's work to be done in making sure that everybody's coordinated, but definitely there's a lot of people working on it, and we can talk about it. Yeah, and hopefully by developing the Haitian Creole Wikipedia, which already has 50,000 articles, we'll get there too.
And actually, before we move on to the next question, just to comment on you hit on my struggles and in sort of not having enough laptops for events like this. When I did the Editathon at Schomburg, it took a lot of IT support to get that set up so that we would have the laptops that didn't time out, that we would have the Wi-Fi capability, you know, that would be strong enough so that things wouldn't go wacky in the middle of things. And so the infrastructure has to be there, and that is part of the struggle. But I think by doing these events and showing what's possible, I can go to my administrators and hopefully get a support for the infrastructure, because I definitely need that before I can embark on something like a monthly meetup.
This isn't a question, new question, it's a follow-up to how to get publicity and how to generate engagement. Take pictures, put them on Instagram. Put them on Instagram, lots of hashtags. I'm a recent convert, I have no interest, I mean, I have an account, that's it. But I'm putting lots of stuff on Instagram today. What? Well, I'm also cross-posting to Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr, everything possible from Instagram. So look for, and lots of hashtags and lots of captions.
Yeah.
Okay? And I'll be adding your Wikipedia usernames as well to the caption.
Back to your panel. So where's Richard?